The other week, I put out a bunny build that essentially lets you sprint forever. As long as you guys were farming something, which is obviously what bunny is for, you could do a full sprint at all times, constantly be killing things with really high damage at really good range, and you did not have to sacrifice your speed with Bionic Fuel or your survivability with Bionic Fuel. I'm personally not a big fan of that mod, so I was trying to do anything I could to get around it, and I felt like that was a really good balance. But I did just want to show off a way that you could quite literally sprint forever no matter the circumstance. If there's enemies around, we're not using MP collector, so it's not chance based. You're guaranteed to be able to sprint forever and actually be regaining mana as you are sprinting around. So we're going to be going through all of the different mods you need, gear you need, and the different passives on all of those, so you can be able to put this setup to use, whether you want to just use it as like a swap. So if you are using that buddy build like I am, I just swap to this if I need to sprint somewhere for a while, anything like that, and then I swap back to the normal build once I'm there and need to kill things. Or if you guys do want to set this up as your full build, I will have the mods laid out on what I would be running. Unfortunately, I can't have them shown in the game because I still can't change my mod polarities between the different presets. So hopefully that is something they change soon. That's honestly one of my biggest gripes with this game right now. As somebody who really likes to make builds, it is incredibly limiting, especially for how much time we're putting in per item or character, whatever, to be able to make a full build. Super quick before we jump in, I just want to say sorry for being gone the past week. I have been sick for the past few days and also a little burnt out, so I was taking a little bit of break in the process and just kind of regaining my energy. But now that we're back, we're gonna have a bunch of videos coming, so make sure you guys are subscribed. But let's go ahead and jump into this infinite sprint bunny. I wanted to start off just by showing you guys straight up, I do mean you can regain mana and just sprint forever. So I'm just purposely letting my mana go down right now. But once we start running, we can see we're going to start gaining a buff there on the left, and that's eventually going to stack up to 10. Once we get to those later stacks and eventually 10 and it's maxed out, we're going to start regaining mana. There you can see it's going back up now that we're at our max 10 stacks. And as long as we keep sprinting, which obviously is the main thing you're trying to do with bunny, you are going to be regaining mana, and you're going to be able to keep your speed of light on, and there's no bionic fuel, so you still get the full speed. Your health is not getting drained. There is absolutely like no downside to this whatsoever. This is also only using a few mods, which we're going to jump to here right now. So these are the core mods you need. Well, there's mainly a core for strong mentality here, which is just the blue skill cost reduction. This one honestly might not be necessary if you do have maxed out passives on the rest of your gear, which we're going to get to after the mods. But for the sake of this video and being able to show you guys that you can be actually regaining mana in this, I do have this equipped. But the main ones that you're going to be needing no matter what, and even if you just want to be able to sprint for like minutes upon minutes at a time, like here, if I take this off really quick and we start running around, you can see how little my mana still goes down. And once we get up to those later stacks, instead of gaining, it's basically going to do like a little wiggle. And once again, this is without maxed out passives on the rest of my gear. So this is still going to take forever. This is essentially infinite sprint for anything in the game. Like, you are never going to use all of this mana up as you're running around like this, especially if there's anything to kill one orb, you're going right back to full. Even if you get super low somehow, I don't even know how you would get that low. One orb would fill you up like a good chunk of the way because our MP recovery modifier is so high. You would just be able to sprint forever regardless. So that's why I'm saying like strong mentality is not necessarily necessary for this build, but it is something you can run if you don't want to worry about anything whatsoever and still just be able to do a true infinite sprint. But for the rest of our mods, if we take a look here, the core ones are going to be maximize conservation. This is what we run on the normal bunny build that I run, just because that is a huge skill cost reduction. Then we're going to be using energy collection and selective recovery MP. These are both MP recovery modifiers. So that's going to allow all of our MP recovery on the rest of our gear to be scaled up by quite a bit. And essentially what we do is when we combine this with narcissism, which while we sprint, it's going to lower our skill cost even further. Our skill cost of speed of light is going to go way down. With strong mentality on, your skill cost at max narcissism is like 4.1, I believe, is our skill cost. So it is very easy to see how that skill cost can be overcome by your MP recovery with this setup. And look how much room this leaves for everything else. you can fit in a whole rest of your build, which we're going to be going into once we get the rest of the key components out of the way. But you can see there's a lot of room for a build here and being able to put out still really good damage at really good range. The other key things needed for this setup are going to come on your sensor and your memory. So on your memory, you're going to want MP recovery modifier. This one's going to have to be in the gold range. This also is not a max roll, I believe. And then also on your sensor, you're going to need MP recovery in combat. This is also not a max roll, so that's where I'm saying I could get a little bit better rolls on these and help myself out without strong mentality. But those two are really the only ones you need. If you want to help yourself out further, you could use like MP recovery out of combat, but we are in combat as we're running around. I've noticed this one is like a little weird. It doesn't seem to give you like the full effect, but maybe helps out a little bit. So I would just like have that there just in case. And then you can also run skill cost here on the reactor. I don't have an electric one with it, so that's just why I have the fire one, just to show you as an example. But these are completely not necessary. If I put on my electric one, which is just crit damage and duration, I can just completely unequip the external component here. And then once again, with this mod setup, we can see that we're still going to be regaining mana once we're at the max narcissism stack. So if I start running here and stack that up, we're slowly going to get there at 8, 9, and 10. And once we're at that 10, you can see the mana is slowly going back up. So those are really the only core components that you need for the setup. Just try to get them in gold, because I think with like purples and less, you're not really going to be able to regain mana. So just try to get those and farm the best ones that you can. If you were interested in making this an actual build, I will have an overlay over the mod screen of the mods that I would run. Unfortunately, I can't change them in the actual game because of the polarity stuff. Hopefully that gets changed soon. That's seriously my biggest gripe with the game. But we're going to be using our core 4 mods here with energy collection and selective recovery MP for the MP recovery modifiers. From there, we can go skill cost reduction with a maximized conservation and narcissism. Now, unfortunately, narcissism as a byproduct will increase your skill cooldowns. So from here, we're going to need to fit more cooldown into our build so we can have constant uptime on our third ability. So we can do that with our main damage mods of focus on singular and focus on electric, because those also give cooldown in addition to our damage. And then for more cooldown, we fit in nimble fingers. From there, we can then fit in our range mods, be essentially 1 meter short of our full range with maximized range and skill expansion. And then finally, I just have HP because I try to run that on every single build. If you want to have like the full MP recovery, you can put strong mentality in its place. But personally, I would just run HP. There's really no point in having like the MP recovery while you're running around. Like, it doesn't need to be constantly filling. You can just sprint for minutes at a time anyways, which you will never hit 0 with that setup anyway. So I just run the HP. And then high voltage. This is going to help your cooldowns out a lot. Without high voltage, you're going to be running into some cooldown issues with constant uptime. And then I just run long distance maneuvering, but you can use whatever grapple you want. Yeah, whether you want to use it as just like a swap option like I do here with this setup, you can also use it as the full build. You can completely take your pick on whatever you want to use this setup for, but I just thought it was really cool that you could do this here on Bunny. I think it's really, really nice to truly be able to sprint forever at max speed and never have to worry about mana whatsoever. So I just wanted to show that off with you guys here today. Hopefully you did enjoy the video. If you guys did find it helpful or informative, make sure you guys leave a thumbs up on the video. Let me know. Also consider subscribing for more First Descendant content. Like I said, we're going to have a bunch more stuff here on the way very shortly, so stay tuned for that. Thank you all for watching this far in the video. I really do appreciate it. But anyways, I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.